The CIA officer that Dick Cheney outed to punish her husband for challenging George W. Bush's lies in the New York Times is running for Congress. This is an amazing story. Check it out. Valarie Plame right here. And don't forget to ding the bell, share this with your friends, leave a comment, and be sure to subscribe to our channel. There is a new race, a new congressional race in New Mexico for the 3rd District of New Mexico. Former CIA covert ops officer Valarie Plame, the author of Fair Game, My Life as a Spy, My Betrayal by the White House, is running for Congress. She's got a heck of an ad out. ValeriePlameForCongress.com is the website. And I believe we have her on the line. We've been trying to get her on the phone, and it hasn't been working. But Valarie Plame, can you hear us?
I sure can. Hi, Tom.
Great. Okay, super. Great to have you back. It's been years since you were on the program, and your husband's been on a number of times as well, Joe Wilson. Tell us, first of all, great driving. I encourage everybody to go check out your commercial. It's spectacular. Tell us about your candidacy and why you're running for Congress.
I'm running for Congress because I want to take this searing life experience of having been outed by the Bush administration being outed as a covert CIA operations officer, take that judgment, take those decision-making skills and put it to good use for my community in northern New Mexico. I have a record of speaking truth to power, and this is my home. I love it here. I can't imagine being anyplace else. This opportunity came up, and I thought, I can do that, and I can do that well.
There are a lot of people in the United States now who are stepping up and running for office, and I think it's just a marvelous, marvelous thing. What are the issues in your mind that you would, if you were to go to Congress representing New Mexico, that you would want to champion?
Sure. So this district is enormous. It's apparently about the size of Florida. And because of that, it is extremely diverse. It's affluent, it's struggling, it's rural, it's urban. There's a Hispanic community, Anglo, our Pueblo native peoples. But here's the thing, as I go everywhere and listen carefully, like, what do you want from your next congressperson? And what do you want them to deliver? The same 3 things keep coming up for this community, which is education, economic opportunity, and concern about the environment. So I know those are 3 huge things, but that's what I hear over and over again.
And what specifically in those areas do you think needs to be done?
Well, unfortunately, New Mexico ranks 50th in the nation in child well-being. Education is absolutely crucial to that. We have failed generations of children. There is some progress being made. $450 million was just allocated in the last legislative session, so that helps. But we're pushing on universal pre-K, and then all the way through K through 12, and then trying to strengthen the culture of higher education, whether it's typical university 4-year or community colleges. New Mexico has an incredible potential and really good, hardworking, tolerant people, and we can do better than that for sure.
That's great. Today is the 18th anniversary of 9/11, which for me, one of the take-homes of 9/11 is we should never again allow a president to exploit a national tragedy for political and in the case of Dick Cheney, probably financial purposes. I'm curious, your thoughts. You don't need to respond to what I said, but I'm just curious your thoughts on this anniversary.
Well, we kind of know what happens. There was a blueprint, if you will, called the American Century. It was put together by
the Project for New American Century.
Project for New American Century. Right. The blueprint was there saying, here's how we really want to project American robust military power to remake the map of the Middle East and so forth. And so that was done, I believe, in 1998. So what it also said is we need this sort of national emergency that we experienced in Pearl Harbor. And lo and behold, 9/11 comes along. And by that time, of course, neocons are in position of real power within the government and without. And all they had to do was take that blueprint off the shelf, dust it off, and get to work. And there was a rush to war, and it was, in my belief, one of the worst foreign policy follies this country has ever made, and we'll be paying for it for generations. To say we overreacted would be an understatement.
We're talking to Valarie Plame. She's running for the U.S. House of Representatives, the 3rd District of New Mexico. ValeriePlameForCongress.com. She's the former CIA officer, covert ops officer, who was outed by Scooter Libby on behalf of Dick Cheney as, would it be fair to say, as punishment for your husband calling out the Bush administration for their lies with regard to Iraq? I mean, you want to tell that story for people who are not familiar with it?
Yeah, what happened was in July 2003, Ambassador Joe Wilson wrote an op-ed piece for the New York Times entitled "What I Did Not Find in Africa." And in it, he went after the central rationale that the Bush White House gave to take us into war with Iraq, which was you don't want to see the smoking gun in the shape of a mushroom cloud and that a nuclear threat is imminent. And he said, I think that the intelligence has been cherry-picked and manipulated. And that, by the way, the nuclear threat is way overblown, is certainly not imminent. The Bush administration did not take kindly to that. His was really the first voice to push back because there had been such a juggernaut and a jingoistic fervor in this country. And I believe as political payback, senior administration officials leaked my name, came up with this narrative that somehow Joe and I were scheming to undermine the presidency. And then, the rest kind of blew up from there. It became this huge media scandal that went on for years. And that chapter ultimately ended in March 2007 when Scooter Libby, Dick Cheney's chief of staff, was convicted on 4 out of 5 counts.
Remarkable. We're hearing that, one of the news reports this morning, in fact, I think it came from CBS, is that one of the main reasons Donald Trump was so upset with John Bolton and fired him is that Bolton was the guy responsible for leaking the story that on multiple occasions in national security meetings, Donald Trump had wanted to try using a nuke to stop a hurricane, and he was embarrassed by that. That, of course, one example of hundreds. I mean, today he in his remarks, he said that he and some of his employees went down to Ground Zero 9/11. There's no record of that. And previously, he has said that he was in New Jersey and he saw a bunch of Muslims celebrating. It's just all over the place. I'm wondering what kind of damage, as a former covert ops officer and employee of the Central Intelligence Agency, what kind of damage has been done to that agency and to our intelligence service more broadly, both by the ways that intelligence was misused by the Bush-Cheney administration and, by this helter-skelter, bouncing off the walls kind of, response or interaction with the intelligence agencies saying, I trust Vladimir Putin instead of my own intelligence from the Trump administration. Where are we at? How are the intelligence services doing?
Tom, considerable damage. Because we have a president who apparently likes to conduct foreign policy by tweet. All our senior officials, not just our intelligence community abroad, are constantly trying to clean up after the elephant in the circus, right? I mean, it's embarrassing. It seems he's working from ignorance for sure. His misunderstanding of our nuclear capabilities and how they should be used, or the guardrails that have been set up that he's busily dismantling, along with John Bolton. We're not sorry to see him go, by the way. It's very painful to see. I know my former colleagues within the CIA and throughout the intelligence community are appalled. Look, they serve as Americans. They don't serve as a Democrat. They don't serve as a Republican, except at, of course, the political levels. They are really, truly trying to keep America safe. And to have it led by such a feckless soul who has no ideology. I might even respect him a little bit if he had some, but he doesn't. It's just sort of off the cuff, responding to his own emotional needs of the moment.